Hi, I'm Lori. I'm doing a presentation on mine because it doesn't really lend itself to a demonstration. The active learning method that I chose is called learning by teaching, and that's where the students actually teach other students in the class or at a different grade level. It's not just a presentation on a topic. The student actually develops an entire learning plan for the topic through the evaluation. This method actually gained popularity in Germany about 30 years ago, where a professor there was doing it for his students who were learning to speak French as a second language. They called it Lernen durch Lehren, which translates to learning by teaching. Sorry, my dog is getting into the garbage. This method can be implemented at several levels of teaching. The Montessori schools that are around today, they use it because the children are grouped together, not divided by ages, but they have like the 3 to 6 year olds together and then the 6 to 12 year olds together. And their motto is each one teach one, where the older children teach the younger children. It's also used in high school when students tutor each other. It's used in college. It's used a lot in college. Especially in their liberal arts classes like philosophy and everything. And then I found studies where it's actually been used in a couple of medical schools. So the idea behind it is that it transforms the student into the role of instructor, and the instructor takes more of a background role. So sometimes the students can teach in groups, but the literature that I read says that the group should be limited to about 3 people. They study a topic, they learn it extensively, they prepare the whole learning plan for the class up through the evaluation point, and then they pick a method of learning. Usually it's discussion, and then the rest of the class either prepares the material ahead of time along with them, and then the discussion is more of a expansion of knowledge, or the students actually do more of a teaching role. The teacher stays in the background, but they also have to know the material really well, because they have to correct any discrepancies in the student's material. So the teaching group has to be ready for questions, so they have to know the material really well. And then when they do the evaluation, what they're evaluating is not only the students, the rest of the class's mastery of the material, but also their own learning of the material and the ability to pass it on. So because it's a really lengthy process, it's really not a spur-of-the-moment thing. It would take probably most of the quarter or the semester of a course to do. You have to have time to research the topic. They have to have time to learn it. So typically you're going to have to give them a few weeks to prepare. And it would work really well with college level classes. I can't see where it would be, other than teaching grade school students, I don't see where it would work very well. At a high school level, I don't know that you have enough time to really develop a topic extensively like you do in college. So some of the research behind it, the medical school that I was talking about that used it, they actually had first year med students learn CPR and then teach it to lay people. And they found that they had to learn the CPR and the concepts behind it a lot better than they would have just to pass the CPR class, because they got questions that they didn't know how to answer at first, and then at the end they realized that they understood the process a lot better. They've also done it at a college level. They did a science class where the students had the option of taking a traditional course or a community-based course, and these were not science majors, they were not education majors, they were just taking this as part of their undergraduate requirement for their bachelor's degree. Those who chose the community-based course went into grade schools, and they actually taught science to like 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And at the end, they felt that they knew the material better because they got questions from the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders that required them to study more in-depthly. But most importantly, they also, when compared to the traditional class, their scores on exams were actually better. So it showed that they actually had mastered the material a lot better. Studies, when I looked at the research, studies were there from as far back as 30 years ago that were showing how this method works, although really it's been around for hundreds of years. But they had one in New York City, which I thought was kind of interesting. They had high school students tutoring grade school students, and not only did the grade school students improve, but the standardized testing that everybody takes, they found that the high school students improved the equivalent of 3 years over the 6-month period of time that they were actually tutoring. And I thought that was that's a really good proof that the method actually works. So some of the drawbacks are that it's really time consuming. Like I said, it really wouldn't be feasible to do this kind of teaching method in many of your classes because you have to learn stuff so fast. And it's not really fun like some of the other active learning methods, although the research that I was reading said that the students at the end found it very fulfilling to be able to pass on their knowledge to others, but nobody ever really said it was fun. When I did my syllabus rewrite for this class, I used a version of this. I created a medical, legal, and ethical issues class and had them as part of the course material because so much of it lends itself to a debate method because there's differing points of view. The students in my class would have to present the material and then debate each other with it against the other point of view. Some of the topics that I chose were assisted suicide and organ donation and medical research on humans because those have differing points of view, and you can easily research and debate both sides. So doing a debate like that where the students have to be extensively prepared and they're really in charge of teaching the rest of the class, that would be this type of teaching by learning. The online potential, I can see where this would be really successful for classes like this one that we're in because of the discussion board. Basically, a student would just be assigned a topic. The student would create all of the discussion board questions, and then they would redirect the rest of the students to, to really stay on topic and stay focused, kind of like the instructor does in a regular discussion board class. But other than that, I don't know. I guess it's easy. It would be possible with a synchronous meeting like we had where instead of the professor being in charge of the class, it would be a student or a group of students that would be in charge, and they would direct the class with the discussion and everything that we had. I don't see this being really popular other than at the college and graduate level, just because it's so time consuming. But I thought it was really interesting, and the research has proven that it's very successful.